In this video, we're going to be creating an equation from a graph and from a table of values. If you haven't watched part 1 of creating equations, then you can go back and watch that now. You'll also need to know how to find the rate of change from a table and from a graph. So if you haven't watched those two videos, I'll link them all down below. So let's start with our first example. A pizza shop charges a flat rate and a cost per topping for each pizza. Create an equation to represent the total cost in terms of the number of toppings added. So in this scenario, we know there's a flat rate, but the flat rate's not given to us. We know there's a cost per topping, but that cost per topping isn't given to us. All our information is given to us in this graph. So let's actually make a little t-table to help us sort out all this information. We're going to have number of toppings, and then we're going to have our cost. If we look at our graph, if we have 0 toppings, our pizza costs $6. So we can fill that out in our table. For 0 toppings, the pizza costs $6. So this means the $6 represents our flat rate, or our starting cost. So for 0 toppings, no matter what, the pizza is always going to cost $6. And we can start filling out some other points here. And it looks like our y-axis is going up by $3. So when we have 4 toppings, the cost is going to be $9. And for 8 toppings, our cost of the pizza is $12. And we only really need 2 or maybe 3 points to make sure we did it correctly. So let's actually find our rate of change. Our number of toppings are all going up by 4. And the cost is all going up by $3. So we need to find the cost per topping. This is our rate of change. And since our cost is going up by $3 for every 4 toppings, we can do 3 divided by 4, and that means we're going to get 75 cents per topping. But we're not done yet because we need to create our equation. So we're creating an equation that represents the total cost. So our equation is going to start off with C equals. So the cost of this pizza is going to be equal to a flat rate and a cost per topping. And that's just our starting cost on our graph and our rate of change. So our starting cost is $6 plus our rate of change, our cost per topping, and that's 0.75 multiplied by the number of toppings, and we're using n to represent the number of toppings. So our equation is C equals 6 plus 0.75 n. The cost is equal to $6 plus 75 cents per topping. And now it's your turn. So we have another graph over here. We're going to work with the same scenario. A pizza shop charges a flat rate and a cost per topping. You're going to use this graph and create an equation based off of the information in this graph. And when you come back to the video, you can check your answer. So here's our answer. Our equation is C equals 12 plus 0.50 n. Our graph starts at 12, so this is our starting cost. The price of the pizza starts at 12. So this is our flat rate. And you can just use the graph to create a table of values to help you find the rate of change, the cost per topping. So since our cost goes up by 3 for every 6 toppings, our cost for 1 topping is 50 cents. So our equation is the cost of pizza is equal to 12 plus 50 cents per topping. On the next page, there are some questions where you could practice creating an equation from a graph. Next, we're going to create an equation from a table of values. So we are given a little bit of backstory here. Student Council is hosting a spring carnival for all students. They charge an entrance fee to get into the carnival and a cost per game. Create an equation for the cost C in terms of the number of games played, N. So we know there's an entrance fee. That's just the flat rate, the starting cost. For 0 games, you are always going to pay that entrance fee. And then we have our rate of change, which is our cost per game. So all the information in this is given in our table of values. When there's 0 games played, the cost is $5. So that means this $5, that's our starting cost, or that's our entrance fee. And then for 5 games, it costs $7.50. For 10 games, it costs $10, and so on. So we already know how to find the rate of change from a table of values. So we need to find out how much the number of games are going up by. Now you can do this in your head, or you can take the number below and subtract the number right on top each time. So our games played are all going up by 5. And our cost, well, our cost is all going up by $2.50. So our rate of change, or our cost per game, is equal to $2.50 divided by 5. And when we put that into the calculator, that's just 50 cents per game. So we are creating an equation that represents the cost, how much it costs to go to the carnival. So our equation is going to start off with C equals, and remember, we have an entrance fee plus the cost per game. So our entrance fee is when we have 0 games played, and that's at $5, plus our cost per game, which is 50 cents times the number of games, N. So our equation is C equals 5 plus 0.50 N, or our cost is equal to our $5 entrance fee plus 50 cents per game. And now it's your turn. I want you to use this new table of values to find the entrance fee and the cost per game and create your equation. When you're ready to check your answer, come back to the video. And here's our answer. C equals 2.50 plus 1.25 N. So our entrance fee, the cost to enter the carnival when we have 0 games played, is $2.50, which is right here in our equation. And since our cost went up by 5 and our number of games went up by 4, to find our rate of change, we could do 5 divided by 4, and that's just $1.25 per game, which is this part of the equation. So the total cost for the carnival is equal to our entrance fee of $2.50 plus $1.25 for every game that you play. And remember some things to take note when you're making these equations. Your entrance fee, or your flat rate, or your starting cost, or your initial cost, it's always going to be alone in the equation. It's always going to be on its own. And then your rate of change is always going to be the one that's multiplied by something. It's not on its own. It's always going to be beside one of your variables. After this, there are a mixture of practice problems, so make sure you're doing your practice. And at the very end, there are answers, so make sure you check your answers, and if you're unsure of anything, just be sure to ask.